I'm not saying that you have to give up on your dream. It just has to be a full dream that money's a part of the equation, not the only part of the equation. It's a great benchmark. It's a great scorecard. It's just not the only scorecard. And when people have it as the only scorecard, they miss out on the essence of life. They don't extract the best pieces. And I had two business partners in 2006 die in a plane crash. Okay, they were 35 years old, but fortunately, they lived their life to the fullest. Now, in the middle of all this is the Rockefeller method. The Rockefeller method is what ties it all together. So let's look at a few notes on the Rockefeller method. See, because I think that in finance, there's been three main kind of viewpoints. One viewpoint has been the playing not to lose viewpoint. A lot of people get stuck in playing not to lose, which is that budgetary reductionist mindset. It's also diversification that becomes diversification, right? Like diversification is like admission of ignorance. I don't know what's gonna work. Let's just throw it to a bunch of stuff and hopefully not all of it goes down at the same time. Like instead of diversification and playing not to lose, which, look, I've done the play not to lose thing. I played carbon high basketball. And the way that carbon high basketball worked was we were up at halftime 18 times, and at the end of the season, we won 3 games because we were brilliant at playing not to lose in the second half. It's out of flow. It comes from scarcity. It's a terrible place to be. The second thing is playing to win, and this is the entrepreneurial trap. Playing to win is where people say, I'll do whatever it takes, and they work at the cost of their health, at the cost of their family, at the cost of their quality of life, because the win for them is that he who has the most wins, right? So the question in play to win is at what cost? Is the juice worth the squeeze? And the most important thing is when people are in the play to win and they get those blinders where it's work, 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 no play, no relaxation. I was that way in my 20s. People are like, oh, you live in Utah, do you ski? I'm like, no, I own a business. What are your hobbies? Business? What do you do for fun? I don't know if you're caught on yet. Business, right? That's the play to win mentality. And these are the people that lose their health. These are the people that lose their relationships. These are the people that aren't really happy when all the boxes are checked off. And unfortunately, we have so many false heroes because there's so many people on the cover of magazines that risked it all, that lost everything, but now we're like, yeah, but they're a billionaire. Yeah, nobody likes them, right? Like look at, not that nobody likes this guy, but like look at all the press Elon Musk is getting. Like 3 hours of sleep, not really helping him out. Overly stressed, you know, when you hear his story about sleeping on couches, he risked it all to get there. There's 999 stories of the people that didn't get there risking it all, right? So I'm not saying that you have to give up on your dream. It just has to be a full dream that money's a part of the equation, not the only part of the equation. It's a great benchmark. It's a great scorecard. It's just not the only scorecard. And when people have it as the only scorecard, they miss out on the essence of life. They don't extract the best pieces. And I had two business partners in 2006 die in a plane crash. Okay, they were 35 years old, but fortunately, they lived their life to the fullest, to the point where I used to judge the hell out of them. I'm like, you guys going to Hawaii again? Why are you doing the night diving? It's cheaper to dive during the day. Why are you getting a photographer? We have phones now. You can just take a picture on it from your phone, get a selfie. Like, I just judged it, but they were enjoying their life. Benjamin Franklin says, wealth isn't the man that has it, but the man that lives it. Quality of life needs to be part of this equation, because in that way you can leave your legacy. Because if you're never around, here's what your legacy is going to be: problematic or disconnected, right? And I didn't believe you could have it all at one time. Like when my partners died, I went through 4 months where we kept all 42 employees, kept all 3 offices open, and I would go to work before my son was up. He's 1 year old. And I would come back from work, he would already be asleep, and I gained 22 pounds in those 4 months. That's where the gray hair mostly came from. I have kids, so they're still a big part of that too. I mean, I love them to death 93% of the time. You know what I'm saying? So everyone with kids totally understands that. So, I mean, I just had a lot of things get out of control because I was going to do whatever it takes, what I'm going to do to play to win. We don't want to have anything, you know, not happen that we were talking about. I'm going to live my life for their legacy, right? And instead of creating my own legacy, I started to lose it. And I remember we were going to Thanksgiving in Price, Utah, which is a step up from East Carbon because now there's 12,000 people in Price. And we're driving, and my favorite place to drive is through this canyon, right? So we're going through this canyon, and my wife and I have our best conversations, and that's how this one started out. She was saying how I was extraordinary on the radio. She said I was extraordinary at business. And then she looked back at my son, looked back at me, she says, but you're just an ordinary husband and father. And so we all have those moments in life where that's like that line of demarcation where we can either fight it or we could say, I'm getting defensive because it struck a nerve. And within 6 days, I gave up one of the divisions of that business. I said, I'm not answering emails. I'm not showing up at 6 a.m. We're going to cut back on the radio show. Instead of doing 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, we're going to an hour a day. And guess what? I'm actually going to pay reruns for this month because I'm going to go spend some time at home. And when I spent time at home, what happened was I actually started to exercise a little bit because I had some time for myself, right? And my son would take a nap, and my wife would like to take a nap when he took a nap. So get a little workout in. Wasn't answering emails and every phone call, which meant I wasn't disempowering everybody. They actually got to figure out things on their own for once. And I had so much energy by the end of the day that I actually wrote Killing Sacred Cows at that specific time in 30 days, where 2 years before, as I'd been tinkering with it, I only got 72 pages done. Because once you get in love with life, once you embrace true principles, once you start living your legacy, you have a different level of energy even with the same amount of time. And I got reconnected to my sole purpose. So this Rockefeller method is more the financial piece of how you keep the family legacy ring together. The big three was you got to have that family office, a cohesive, communicating, coordinated financial team, a family retreat structure. How do you create traditions within your family? How do you create rituals that bring you back together, that you look forward to? How do you create the symbols, just like you have a logo for your business, or the mission, just like you have a vision for the business, for the family? Because the family is an ongoing concern, even more so than a business can be, right? Then the family constitution, your words, your life, your legacy. We can delegate a lot of things in life. You cannot delegate your legacy. It's not something you could delegate. I wish there's other things we could delegate. Like, have you ever been camping when it's really cold out at night? I wish I could delegate someone going pee for me. Because it's like, I just suffer for hours because I don't want to be cold, right? Or it'd be awesome to delegate a workout. Like, if you could work out for me, Bill, and then I got the result, that would be awesome, right? I would pay a lot for that on leg day, right? So we can't delegate our legacy. So what brings all of this together in the Rockefeller method, let me show something that I learned that happened in 1952, right? It was basically GE decided they wanted to do something. They wanted to attract the highest and best talent that existed in the world. So how could they get this talent? Well, they said, we're going to offer pensions. We're going to tell people if they're the best executive, we'll recruit them away because they're already employed and say, if you work here for 7 to 10 years, we'll pay you for the rest of your life. And back in the 50s, the rest of your life didn't mean the same thing it means today, right? So they recruited this amazing talent. And what they would do is buy the type of insurance policy I talk about and what would the Rockefellers do on that executive. That cash value would grow. That cash value then would supplement them during their retirement years. And then when that executive would die, because GE was still around after they died, they would get the death benefit of money back into the company at a 6 to 7% tax-free return. So they actually benefited by knowing the financial instruments. This is what the Rockefellers do. Any time an heir that's going to benefit from the trust is born, they get a permanent insurance plan that will last one day longer than that heir so that the money will come in tax-free back to the family trust. They finance things for the family and they earn interest rather than paying it to institutions. And then when the heir dies, it brings more money to the trust, which means maybe that heir didn't have as profitable as a life. Maybe the economy wasn't in the right place when they died. This is helping them to perpetuate it year in and year out, afford the money for the board of trustees, refine the family constitution, because the family constitution makes it dynamic. It makes it dynamic because I don't know what the world's going to look like 20 or 30 years from now. And I don't know where my kids are going to be or their kids are going to be, but what I don't want to do is have them get money just because they're part of this family. I want them to have an opportunity for that money because they're part of this family if they choose to embrace the life they love and they become a contributing member of society where value creation is at the forefront and purpose is their guiding beacon. Right? Got some nods, yes. I like it. I mean, I have, expected some applause there, but it's fine. I'm not going to fully placate for it. Ask and you shall receive. So that's I get these conversations like, well, this type of advisor hates insurance, and this type of advisor likes insurance. I haven't sat down and sold insurance since 2005. right? I don't do it one-on-one. I just simply know that the Rockefellers use it to replenish the trust because of the insurances out there. I'm not sure if you're going to use your car insurance. Hopefully you don't. Your homeowner's insurance, hopefully you never have to use it. Your liability insurance may never occur. Disability, I hope not. But life insurance, you're going to die. And even if you figured something out, like you've gone through the Singularity University, you've got a microchip from Ray Kurzweil, you're going to upload your consciousness to a computer, the insurance company basically says, when you're 100, you're old AF, and they're just giving you the money. Here you go, living death, you're I don't even know how you made it this far. Like, and I'll tell you, it can happen, because my great-grandma, we called her Nana. I know it's a very unique name for a grandma. Great-grandma, she never moved from one place. I always saw her in the same place of the couch. She was addicted to Valium, right? Because she was always stressed about everything at all times. So no movement, and so no exercise, and all stress, and she lived to 103. So I'm questioning medicine and science completely at this point. Servants is the key, apparently, because her oldest daughter just did everything for her. But the bottom line is, even if you find a way to live past 100, you can still get that payout. You can still replenish that trust. And instead of trying to build net worth, you're buying it. You're buying net worth. You're buying that death benefit, and it automatically gets that into your estate in the future in a very tax-efficient way, especially if you know about asset protection trust, which I love since 2013, because an asset protection trust is irrevocable, which I hate that term, but you get to choose your distribution trustee. So I chose my mom, and if I ever make her mad, I can fire her and choose my dad. And if I make him mad, I can fire him, and I can choose Norm. And I don't ever want to make Norm mad, all right? So that's the good news, is I can control the money through my distribution trustee and still keep it out of my estate. So I can access my cash. I can have the death benefit come in without having estate tax. And that's the family legacy ring, all right? So we got a few minutes. It looks like, if that clock is right, tell me 6 minutes and 20 seconds. So any questions? We got a box over here we'll throw at you to answer a question. Right here.
So really, I can have my kids all finance my life insurance. And they should buy as much life insurance, because I probably will die before they will. Then they have created wealth.
You should have your kids do it, or you should learn about premium financing and have a bank do it. Because there are banks that will finance your insurance for you. Or, I have insurance on my kids, right? Because as soon as they're 30 days old, you can get insurance. And by the way, you can pay your kids up to $12,000 a year tax-free if they're actually doing work. And then you can put that into a plan. Now they've got the death benefit while they're the healthiest, hopefully, right? And if their health changes, now it's already secured to come into the trust, and then I can use that cash value because I control it however I want. I can use it to support them in something or not support them in something if they're a-holes, right? But the bottom line is I now have control over that cash. So yeah, I like where your head's at. Yes?
I'm intrigued with what you just said because I'm not aware of it. Tell me about premium financing for insurance.
I just like to throw seeds out there, you know?
It was a good seed.
So premium finance is where a bank will give you a loan, because banks actually would rather loan on cash than on real estate. And so if you have enough wealth that you can get into a private bank or into a situation where you can get, let's say they'll charge you 2.25%, you've got to have a little bit of collateral, and you got to have a lot of cash value. It's got to be designed properly, but they'll actually give you loans year by year. That goes into your cash value, and if it's done appropriately, now you're doing what the banks do to you. You're paying them 2.25, and hopefully you're earning 5, and that's the deal. So we did one 6 years ago. We told them, we like to look at more worst case scenarios. We told them 7 years you'll be at break even, right? They're at $570,000 above what the bank has given them in cash. So they can pay the bank back, walk away that amount, and they've been insured that whole time. So it's not for everyone, but it's definitely something to look into. I know Norm's going to be here doing roundtables. Norm knows it really well. He knows the insurance game really well. And I just want to acknowledge him because for those of you that have met Norm, when he came on board in 2009, he and I did some work together because I made some mistakes in real estate, and he was the fixer. I mean, he went in and he did strategies I had no idea about, and he turned my life around very quickly. Then in 2010, we had this explosive year where we took on too many clients, we grew too fast, and we didn't have everybody happy. 12% refund request rate, I hate that. We're at less than 1%. So he came to me, he goes, you know what? We're gonna take on less clients next year. We're gonna fire our sales team because they're too pushy, and you're still gonna make what you made this year. And he made that happen. Like, he is so good at what I'm not good at. And you can just tell he's buttoned up, he's got the details together, he's always had my back. I 100% of the time know he's gonna show up without even questioning about it, don't even think about it ever. And so I've been officially a partner with him for several years now, but really since the beginning. So if you ever get a chance to talk to him, he knows the insurance stuff inside and out, and he also was a developer and knows a lot about real estate. So Norm Westervelt, as you've heard David talk about him as well. Cool, well let me recap then, since I've got 2 minutes here. We talked about 3 ways to live within your means. Number 1, budget, that sucks. Number 2, be efficient. Yeah, keep a lot more of what you make. Number 3, expand your means. That's why you're in this room. Continue to grow and add value. We talked about the 3 types of capital. If you want more financial capital, or if you think you have a money problem, it's either an idea or a relationship problem. Increase your knowledge, add value to people, and find those great relationships in your life. Spend more time with them and spend less time with the people that don't support you, that don't bring much to the table, and just start declining their invitations in a very polite way, right? Then we started to talk about this family legacy ring. The family office. The Rockefellers had it, so they had a cohesive team to protect that wealth and to transfer that knowledge and those assets to the future generations, so they didn't start over and get a brand new team. There was continuity to that. It made a massive difference. Then we add the family retreat structure. There might even be things that you add to that, like I'm taking my son when he's 14 to a third world country for 30 days. Why? So he could see that you could still have happiness without money, but how beneficial it is and how great his life is, and that he'll start listening to me at a deeper level because there will be no technology or distractions, and all of a sudden I won't be wah, wah, wah when I talk. It'll be like, hey, yeah, that makes sense because we're truly bonded. Then when he turns 15, we're gonna hike a major peak because I believe you build confidence through private victories and you build arrogance through public victories. Look at athletes sometimes that they get good too early and people bend all the rules and do everything that they shouldn't do, and then they eventually become Odell Beckham Jr. So, you know, sorry. So then from there we talked about the family constitution, your words, your writing, your distilled philosophy to govern your trust so it can last. In the middle of that was the Rockefeller method, which is having the type of permanent insurance that would replenish the trust, protect the trust, and that cash value could be used for real estate or other things because it's protected from liability and bankruptcy. It's available within a week, and it's still tax advantage, so you don't have the 59.5 rules, but you don't put it in pre-tax. So that is a family legacy ring. That is my legacy talk. I love being here. David, thanks for who you are and how you show up for this group.